It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of parshat Toledot, the dual role. If we look in the parsha, we see that Yitzchak is trying to give a bracha to Esav, and enters Yaakov, and he says, I don't understand, I don't know, should I give you the bracha? After all, Hakol kol Yaakov vayadayim midei Esav. The voice of Jacob, but the hands of Esav. Now, so we have many questions we can ask. And my thoughts today come from Zera Shimshon. Zera Shimshon was a book written in the 18th century, Italy, by a certain Rabbi Shimshon, northern Italy. So, the question is as follows. If he indeed thought that it was the Kol Yaakov and the Yadayim Midei Esav, that it was a combination of Yaakov and Esav, so then why did he give him the bracha? If he thought that somehow somebody was pretending to have something that they didn't have, either Esav pretending to have the voice of Yaakov, or Yaakov pretending to have the accoutrements of Esav, then why would he give him the bracha? And which one is most possible? So Zera Shimshon says there are two options. One is that Esav, who has this general, very negative kind of personality, he's a murderer, etc., he wants to kill, we know, he wanted to kill his brother. Rivka overheard him that he was planning on killing his brother with the death of Yitzchak. Can that go together with the Kol Yaakov? Can you be a murderer, but also you learn Torah? He says, no, that's not possible. So it really can't be that. So then he must have realized at some level that this was Yaakov. Because can Yaakov have the Yadayim Midei Esav? Can he take on the hands of Esav? Well, so for this, he turns to an interesting passage in the Zohar. Apparently, there's a notion that Al Charbecha Tichya, later, when Yitzchak knew he was talking to Esav, he said, look, you're going to have to live on your sword. What do you mean your sword? Why is it yours? So he says, well, there's the sword of Ashmedai. There's the sword of the evil angel, and that's the sword that belongs to Esav. Esav has that evil sword, the sword of killing, the sword of unjust wars, the sword of unjust killing. This is the sword of Esav. But one day, to parallel and to counter the sword of Esav, there will be Charba de Mashiach. And the Charba de Mashiach, the sword of the Mashiach, that will be a sword that can coexist with the Kol Yaakov. You say, how can you do it? How can you have a voice of Yaakov? How can you have Torah and also have the sword of Esav? You can't do it. Even the sword of the Mashiach. Can you do it? Well, we know the Rambam says that the Mashiach will be someone almost as great a prophet as Moshe, almost as learned as David. He's going to be very, very holy. And yet, he's going to have to fight the battles of God and win the wars for the land of Israel. So it can be done. You can use the Charva de Mashiach, the proper Charva, which even at the end of the Torah we say, this sword is your pride. A sword that's only used properly, in a proper way, in a just kind of way. That sword can coexist with the voice of Yaakov. When Yitzchak is giving the bracha to Yaakov, and he's confused, is it Esav in Yaakov's voice? Is it Yaakov in Esav's skin? He realized that there was only one possibility that worked together, and it was that he actually gave a bracha to that combination. The combination of a Yaakov who can wear Esav's skin, who can live in that space where, yes, there is a time for war, a time for peace, a time for war, and that he can fight the just wars. Melchamot Hashem, Adonai Nucham, as Abigail said to David, you are the one who fights the wars of God, proper wars that are proper to be had. There's a notion from a few weeks ago. Hashem says to Avram, Al tira Avram, don't worry. He says, why should he be worried? He just won a war against the four kings, the four great kingdoms from Mesopotamia. Why should he be worried? So some say, well, maybe they can come back and get him, but he's the victor. Why should he worry? So the Or Chaim says, no, the idea is that he shouldn't worry that now that he's won these wars, now he's not going to be the Avraham that we all know and love, the Avraham who has an open tent, the Avraham who runs to greet people, Avraham who's full of love and kindness and chesed. So he says, don't worry. You'll have a great reward and you'll be able to do both. To fight the wars of God when you need to retrieve the hostages of your nephew who's taken hostage. And also, you'll also be able to retain the Torah personality, the kind personality that you are, because that's a special bracha to have. Hakol kol Yaakov, Adayim B'Esav. Just one little grammatical, more technical, Talmudic point that Rezer Shimshon adds this. He says, it says that if you have meat that you try to slaughter it didn't work out and it's not kosher, so you should either give it to the ger, give it to your local convert. After all, he converted; these guys doesn't have as much property as you do. Give it to him, or sell it to the Gentile. And the Talmud debates whether you could do either one, or go either way, where you can sell it, you can give it or sell it to the Gentile, and you can give it or sell it to the convert, or no, you have to just give it to the convert or sell it to the Gentile. So, how do you, when you have an and, does it relate to both parts of the sentence? So he says, maybe it can, where he said to him, Hakol kol Yaakov v'hayadayim. And then maybe it's the voice of Yaakov and the hands. The hands are also given this notion that Yaakov can possess some of these traits of Esav in moderation, in proper measure. You can read the verse like that: Hakol kol Yaakov, the voice of Yaakov, and the hands, but it doesn't read the other way. You can't say it's the voice of Jacob and the hands of Esav, that Esav should somehow be party to the voice of Yaakov. That won't work. The corruption of Esav obviates the possibility of having the Torah of Yaakov in his tent. So let's hope that we can do both, that we can have the Kol Yaakov, and when necessary, when unfortunately necessary, when we need to have the Charbet Mashiach, the sword of the Messiah, let's hope that we can have that proper sword, the proper balance, never losing our sense of kindness, love, but also not to forget that sometimes we have to fight the Milchamos Hashem, fight Amalek, we have to fight evil, we have to have a place in this world where we can call home. And if we can combine those two things, then God willing, indeed, we'll bring the times of the Mashiach. And indeed, and on that day, the conquerors will have to go up to the place of Esav, and we'll take a bit of that Esav with us, but only in proper measure, to be able to have the voice of Yaakov and some of the valor of Esav. Thank you for joining us here at the Baron Hirsch Congregation. Join us each week for a discussion of the parsha and the various holidays. And thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.